once again coming at you. I need to turn my headphones up a little bit. There we go.
You're just missing us talking about what your life would be in jail.
My life? I'm an old man.
But you're very pretty.
You have lovely hair.
You're very pretty.
Yikes. Hi, good morning. From La Divina Italian Cafe at Acadian and Perkins in the beautiful capital city of Baton Rouge on this pretty gorgeous Friday morning. I guess this is literally the calm before the storm.
The beautiful, sunny calm before the storm. Cristobal is meandering. It's still over the Yucatan.
Yes, but I saw some recent radar this morning, and it has begun a somewhat northerly trek, although it is still over land at this time. So we'll see what happens.
Do you remember? Does anybody remember?
Theme song.
Yeah, a tropical storm that turned circles over mountainous land and didn't get torn apart. This is kind of rare.
Well, it got weakened considerably. It's a tropical depression at the moment.
But it's going to make it back out into the Gulf.
And once it hits that hot water,
it's going to be woof.
Anything goes.
Mm-hmm.
But Diane Deaton said this morning, looking for it to make landfall as a tropical storm, possibly a very weak Category 1 hurricane, but expected to lose strength, begin losing strength immediately after making landfall. The question is where, and right now we're pretty much in the center of the cone of probability. I don't know why that always is. But
yeah.
It's like, tell us to go to Louisiana.
By the way, have you noticed they've started calling it the cone of probability, where they were on that kick for a while, calling it the cone of improbability?
Yeah, the cone of silence. Well, for a while there, the hurricane forecasting, even in the minute hurricane forecasting, as the storm was approaching, was so bad for a while there that it was hardly ever right.
See, I think with this one, being this early in the season and doing all the meandering, we ought to have a little fun, at least until Sunday. We ought to start a cone of probability on the forecasters, on Jesse and the cute chick and Jay and Dr. Steve and Dr. Josh.
The cute chick.
I can't remember her name. Is it Carly?
Which station are you talking about?
3344.
33's got Ashley Rue is a very attractive young woman.
Yes.
They've also got I'm trying to remember that she's teeny.
She looks like she's in 7th grade.
She's teeny and adorable, but she's very good.
She's really good.
Like she's really good.
But all right, so we get her in. We get Diane in. We get what's his name? Callahan from Channel 2 in with Josh. I don't think Pat would like to play.
Jasmine Lomax, it just came back to me.
Really? Her name is Jasmine Lomax?
Jasmine Lomax, she is adorable. I'm sorry if I'm being condescending, but she's also a pretty brilliant weather person.
And she has a heavy metal band's name. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Detroit, Jasmine Lomax!
You got to see her if you haven't checked it out on Channel 33/44 because she's just adorable.
Well, they did a promo, and she is teeny tiny. Like the camera had...
But she's also so cute. She's got this smile. It just lights up the room.
Yeah, the camera had to be on the front of her shoes.
Am I gushing on Jasmine Lomax?
You are. But I think she's got a heavy metal band name, Jazz. Yeah. But anyway.
She's got a future in front of her is what she has.
All right, so we got all these people that are predicting here in our local milieu.
Mm-hmm.
We ought to have a cone of probability as to whose forecast in the next few days is the most accurate as to the final results. I think that would be some fun.
Maybe get like a pool?
Yeah.
Can we make up a pool? Which forecaster is going to have been the most accurate?
But you have to start with the 5 o'clock tonight. Or now that a lot of them got the 4 o'clock, and you start with the 4 o'clock.
Now, I'll tell you which horse has got my money. Just sight unseen. I'm going to put it on Dr. Caparata.
Steve is awfully good.
And Jay Grimes right behind him.
Diane has been really, really on track. But she has the beauty of having all the overnight stuff to study and then do hers in the morning.
Yeah. But let's not dismiss Diane. Any of them, they're all good.
Dr. Josh is
Josh
really good.
Is good.
And as you point out, the young lady on 33 seems to be a really good scientist. She really
both
does.
Of them
yeah.
are, I believe they're both trained meteorologists.
Yes.
Which is always smart if you want to be the weather girl. if you're an attractive girl and you got an interest, go become a meteorologist. It's going to get you hired at a TV station.
If you're an attractive girl, what are you, Kenny Havard, station manager? No fat chicks.
Yeah, I know, Kenny. Thanks. No, TV is what it is. We understand that attractive people usually get hired quicker. Do you not agree?
Yeah.
Especially when you're hiring females. It's like it never hurts to be pretty. I'm sorry. Yeah, a face for television, that sort of thing.
When you're hiring males, it helps to be pretty. I mean,
well, yeah, look at who's the new guy at Channel. He's not new.
Matt Houston.
Well, Matt Houston, there's one, especially with that eyebrow cock.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Houston, he's good looking too. Austin Kemker, their other new guy.
Michael Shingleton's a good looking man.
Michael Shingleton is a good looking young man. I mean, they're smart. They're hiring good looking people.
Yeah.
Rep them. That's why people like us.
Nobody heard that, Lance, and nobody's going to.
I was going to say, that's why people like us got into radio.
We're in television now, dude.
Yeah, but I mean, once you hit a certain age, it's like, well, look at those two stately older gentlemen on TV.
Distinguished. I like distinguished.
Well,
that's
you're
where I'm
distinguished. I don't know what I am.
You're extinguished.
I'm somewhere. I'm headed in Tom Sylvester territory.
No! Oh, God.
I love you, Tom.
But
I'm only joking.
I'm trying to think, I remember when you had people like John Mahaffey.
Yeah.
And Jay, who went on to CNN, Jay Young.
Yeah.
He's a damn fine looking man.
Mm-hmm. Did you consider Mahaffey a good looking man?
Again, 40 years ago, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another good looking man, Ed Buggs.
Edward. Oh, yeah.
Ed Buggs, good looking, well dressed, clean, sharp.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I used a Joe Bidenism, but I meant that by his performance.
I could hear ZZ Top every time he put on his suit coat.
Yep.
Well dressed man.
Ed Buggs was brilliant. His brother is brilliant.
Yeah. Now Clarence is well dressed. Clarence is a great deal thinner than Edward.
Yeah.
But
somebody says our audio sounds like it's coming through a telephone or something.
Well, maybe it is.
Well, I mean, let's see. This thing's on.
It's on. We got the green. We got the green stripe with the green stripe.
Everything is as it normally is.
Well, here, you say
listen to the
over the net signal,
yeah,
okay?
I do that.
Give me a long count.
Yeah, Mike says y'all's audio sounds like it's coming through a telephone or something.
Give me a long count here.
Well, testing 1, 2, 3. I'll just talk, okay?
I was teasing.
How does it sound to you? Crazy. Byron, that's good. Thank you very much for that one. Gravitas. He says, so when you're old, you have gravitas.
Yeah, I know. And I'm seeing the urologist on Thursday.
Yeah, when we're old, we have gravity. Everything is being pulled towards the floor. Everything. So
we sound good.
Mike says that changed something. Does that sound better? Well, you know what I did? I unplugged the preamp and plugged it back in. So, sorry to have to deal with our technical issues on the fly, but
that's what makes it real.
Nothing like a peek behind the curtain.
That's how you know it's live.
Yep. Toto doesn't need to pull the curtain back. We leave it back.
That's right. You can look up our sinus cavities anytime.
So listen, we've had some discussion on this podcast, and yesterday on Exiles TV we talked about this proposal to have not just one. We'll see how many might seem appropriate, but some conversations, frank, honest conversations about race, about racial policy, and about policing. Because the question came up from our friend Pat Engleg, former police chief and head of CALIF. What do the protesters want? I mean, what do they really want? And because nobody is saying, Benjamin Crump, the lawyers, the talkers, nobody has got a document saying this is what we want, not only Minneapolis, but police forces across the country to do. This is what we want. All they're saying is no justice, no peace, no specific ideas. That's what I'm saying.
Jane says now she's getting a ringing back noise. Jane, that's just you. Consult your neurologist. But
stop that. What does that even mean? A ringing back noise.
That's a stroke thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought one of the most brilliant things that Pat said in his initial message to you and I was that he'd like to hear from real people.
Yeah, I was going to start this by saying we have some city leaders and things that are very interested, but we want people like you as well involved in these conversations.
And he said about suggested solutions. And I think that's the most brilliant thing. So we are asking for volunteers. Now, we have had a lot of people in elected positions say, I would like to participate, and we want to have them. We would love to have them, and we will have them. But we want to balance this. We don't want all people in leadership roles. We would like what we call ordinary people, or maybe in this case it's extraordinary people, because they will take an hour or so of their time to do this with us.
Yeah, and also I think for quote-unquote IRL people, real life people, it's not only taking an hour out of your time to come join us at our taping place, but it's also agreeing to be on camera, have your words. It's not. I don't want to say on record. That's not a way of putting it, but your words will be heard. So that if that's what you want, if you want your point of view to be heard, then we're willing to give you the microphone.
And there is only one rule.
Don't be a crank.
Well, if you disagree with something somebody else has to say, that's fine, but you cannot be disagreeable in the way you do it. This is not supposed to be a forum for manifestos. This is supposed to be an honest discussion. And I assume there are going to be people that disagree. That's okay. But we're not going to have someone, do a filibuster and nobody else gets a chance to talk.
Right. And I mean, we're going to talk about it. We'd like to get some experts that are there with us that might be able to explain if an idea, it might have merit, but it also might be legally undoable.
Well, and I think a lot of this is going to focus on the sociology of the citizen. I think a lot of people are going to say, I don't want to be afraid of the police. I think we're going to have a lot of people that are going to have to admit for the first time, maybe publicly, that if you are white in this society, you do not have the same anxiety level wired into you that a young black male does when it comes to police. I think we're going to have some statements of fact, and I think we're going to get that more from the, as you put it, in real life people than from some of the folks that are in elected positions. And I'm actually looking forward to it. We are going to do it both on this podcast. We're going to set up a bigger area so that we can have 5 or so of you at a time. And then on our TV show, we'll be able to have 5 or so at a time. And this will be a series. And other than Kevin and I, you won't have the same panel each and every time. You will have, you'll have different people.
But here's the kind of thing we're looking for. This is Byron again. I mentioned Byron's a thinker. He's a guy who uses the brain. But this is the sort of thing, the kind of discussion we're talking about is things that might make you a little bit uncomfortable. And, we need to get a little bit uncomfortable. Both, I don't want to say sides of this issue, but everyone involved in this issue needs to be a little bit uncomfortable. It's not until we get out of our comfort zone that do we ever accomplish anything. But this is from Byron. I don't think the long-term best solution is about police procedure. I think an honest discussion as to why black males are encountering the police so often. To me, the police procedures are the symptom, but not the source of the issue. But that makes people uncomfortable. It's like if the problem is that black people think that too many black people are dying at the hands of police, suggesting that black people change their behavior is not going to be well met.
Well, and again, I think when you talk about an honest discussion, I think it's fair for people of both races in this case to ask questions of the other about something they perhaps do not understand. The walk a mile in the other guy's shoes thing has really come to my mind a lot lately. And I've got a lot of questions that I would like to have an understanding for as well, but we're going to leave this to the folks. Brad Hughes with EMS, and Brad, I'm glad you're listening. I think we've got that 60-cycle hum is what they're talking about. So you might try flipping that plug that's got our power going, flip it over if you're running the power into your phone, and that might take care of it.
This?
Yeah.
It's a lightning jack. Flipping it over is not going to do anything.
No, you're not plugged into AC to power your phone? You're running off battery?
I'll try. We'll see. Keep talking.
Well, because if you're running off battery,
Keep talking. Now you stop talking.
Well, I'm trying to work on our technical issues here. I'm sitting there and let's see. All right, try that now.
Brad, is that any better?
Sometimes you get a thing called a grounding loop, which creates 60-cycle hum. Your wall current, your AC is alternating current. It is 60 cycle. Only you're not supposed to be able to hear it, but sometimes if you're ungrounded or you've got two devices on the same circuit and one's grounded and one's not, you get that. If you ever gone to a live concert and you heard one of the amps going, that's what that is. So we will try to. We will. Jane says not better. Jane?
All right.
She
There you
says
go.
it's not her. I was teasing you,
I'm telling
Jane.
you, this noise has been with us for a year. We tried so many different configurations, but
You know what? Lance came over here earlier and shoved that bench up against this bench, which connects to the AC, and I'll bet you we got half a plug hanging out. Stick your
don't know.
hand back behind you and see if you get a shock.
Back in the radio days, I would be texting the engineer and then texting him again saying, why aren't you answering my texts?
You want to text Lance?
So anyway, but hey, listen, here's the bottom line is this. If you feel like you might like to take part in one of these, we're probably going to try to do some as podcasts, and we're also going to try to do some as Exiles TV. I'd say Exiles TV will probably happen quicker. That show we do live on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m., and the location is on Coursey Boulevard, not far from Airline.
Mm-hmm.
If you think you'd like to be part of one of these discussions, just get in touch with us. Now, I'll be honest, I'm going to vet you. Bill's going to vet you. We're going to hit like your Facebook page and whatever else we can find out without spying on you, anything you make public, and we're going to see if you're some kind of nut. If you don't seem like some kind of a nut, then we're going to invite you to take part.
Isn't it true, Mr. Gibson, that in 2004 you were seen grabbing an extra icy at the racetrack on
Telling
your
you.
line highway? Isn't it true?
Most of the time, you can spend 5 minutes on somebody's Facebook page and
Yeah.
tell whether you want to give them an open mic or not.
Yeah.
But, if you're a level-headed American, because we want to have a level-headed discussion about this.
And again, for all of our friends, we have a lot of people that view us on Facebook Live. A lot of people used to listen to our radio show. A lot of people on our TV show that are African American. I want to ask you to step up and join us because it is very important. That
Bunch
your-
of white people talking about it ain't going to help.
Yeah, it's very important that your voices be heard. It really is. And Trey Welch, Councilman Trey Welch, he's served for a lot of years. And he sent me a Facebook message last night, and he said, hey, Tara Wicker has been having these meetings for like 3
She
years.
has.
And don't try to reinvent the wheel, just turn it back over to her. And I understand that, Trey, but we're going down a little different path because we're going to focus on relationships with cops as the first point of this spear, and then we're going to move it into relationships with each other. I understand, and I don't want to take away from what Tara is doing either. In fact, I hope Tara will join us for one of these. But,
Absolutely.
but we want to talk specifically about perceptions of police and police procedures and then move that into the larger discussion.
So, I don't know, maybe we can come up with something that could eventually lead to an answer. Or is this the riddle? Is this the Gordian knot of social problems? Is this the only way to get through it is to chop it? I don't understand. I won't pretend to understand the problem because I come from a world where you encounter with the police, my gut reaction is yes sir, no sir, yes sir, no sir.
You know what?
Blah blah blah. But sometimes you just see people they don't like the cops. They don't like being talked to by the cops, stopped by the cops, detained for even a moment by the cops, and it's all like, why? What am I charged with? What's going? What? It's like, can we just talk for a minute?
Here's a question a lot of people have asked me since I came to Baton Rouge many years ago. So I'm going to ask you because I really don't know the answer to this. How many black people did you go to high school with?
Oh, I'm not a good person to ask.
Well, it might be instructive. There's a reason I'm asking this.
I lived in a town of about 27,000. We had 2 families of black people, okay? And one family didn't have any kids in high school, so I went to high school with exactly 2
Well, see,
black children
that illustrates the
in a
point.
school with hundreds and hundreds. It was a big high school.
We had, in my high school, 2,300 students. My graduating class was 758. There were exactly 2 black kids in my high school
Oh.
during the entire 4
Another
years.
experience we share.
Well, and what this means is, so much of your opinion and who you are and your wants and your hopes and your fears and all that happens when you're in high school. So I cannot possibly understand, and certainly couldn't at that time in my life, what it was like to be a black kid, because I had very little experience sharing. And one of the black kids I went to high school with was a football star, and his dad was a colonel in the United States Air Force. So he didn't have a typical city kid experience either. So, I mean, the reason I ask you that is because I had a feeling it was similar to my experience. Is how could we possibly know in our 20s and 30s what it's like for people who are our own age but went to perhaps an all-black or mostly black high school that was still under the old separate but equal Jim Crow laws? How could we possibly know?
And I didn't see any. As a matter of fact, if it could be said, the two that I knew in high school were both very, very popular. The older brother was a star athlete, played 3 sports, and his younger sister was a valedictorian my senior year. So they were kind of rock stars.
Well, and I'm thinking their experience was
Plus, they
commendable but unusual.
were just good people.
Yeah.
They were really good people.
You know, I get anxiety when I see a cop light 'em up behind me that I'm going to get a ticket and it's going to cost me a lot of money on my insurance. You know, I get that. I don't get the anxiety that I might get the hell knocked out of me, or I might get hooked up while they're checking my license, or that I might do something that causes a nervous reaction and might get really hurt. You know, that's a whole different level of anxiety. Let's take our break, shall we?
I'm glad to. My coffee's empty.
Yeah, mine too. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with you in just a few minutes.
All right, as we go, I want to remind you that if you are interested in taking part in any of these conversations on race, you can reach out to us via email. We got brand new email addresses, easy to remember. Is bill@exilestv.com. Mine, Kevin, @exilestv.com. We'll talk to you in just a couple minutes.